Okay, welcome to Traders Around the Table. Let's have a look at the Dow first off. Let's just see where we are with these indices. Low volume, but yeah, we are making new highs. I did a video about 3 weeks ago suggesting that we needed to watch these levels here. But we are just busting up. And the DAX, if you look at the weekly, so 2 higher weeks here. Let me get rid of this, don't need this. And drop that down as well. And you can see, stopping bar here last week in March, pushed up first week in April, been moving sideways since, but the last couple of weeks just beginning to get a little bit of a momentum, a little bit of a thrust through. If we look at the DAX, the DAX is on the weekly is very interesting. A little hard to call. So I've got the DAX on this. I've got the fibs on the 15,000, and the low of the October last year drop before the ECB announced easing, and actually they announced it in December, didn't they? And then we got going. So anyway, I'll explain why I've picked that 15,000 in a minute. Well, it's fairly obvious, I hope. So 2 legs up here, and the impulse wave normally is a little jagged, but we look as if we can hold this 60, we can hold 650, then we could start to climb our way up here for a third leg. But the only thing to watch out for is this is seasonally the period when you see profit taking. Around the middle to end May into June, markets tend to get a little sloppy, a lot of profit taking, low volumes. It's just a seasonal period for profit taking and pullbacks, basically pullbacks. But at the moment, we're right at the crucial level at the 650 on the DAX, and just looking to see if we can at least hold around here, close higher. Because if we hold 650, 700, we could at least test 12,000 fairly soon. At that point, we need to see where we're going to go. But Elliott Wave suggests we could do 13,000, 12.5, 13,000, and much longer term, come and test 15,000. But let's just take it one step at a time. If we put this, let's experiment with the fibs. If we look at the last main move here, we popped out of the 200%, and the lows we were touching the retesting R61 extension. There's a very, very aggressive move to the upside, and we've just been pulling back and consolidating here. Let's look at the case for the bears. And we had a huge engulfing bar here in the middle of April. We held it through the 3rd week in April, and since then we've been closing, all bar one exception, been closing outside of it. So you can see how important this level is, because we are attacking the lows of that big bar. So this, if we fail here, and the main resistance is 700, 710, if we fail here, then we are potentially coming back to retest this 55 EMA. And let's face it, we are extended up here. But there's no such thing as overbought. So crucial level. This is a very, very crucial level. And yeah, back to the daily. It's just well, back to the daily. We haven't looked at the daily yet properly. This is the range I've picked out, and we're just coming into the high of the range already. But this fib level is important. 460 was a fib level. We came under here through a hammer on the 7th, ran up, had a couple of waves to the downside, and now trying to hold this daily 55. So we are still very much range bound, but close up here around about the 650 mark, and that could at least get us back to this high. Okay, next thing I want to look at is, so in indices in the early part of this week, we've obviously still got an hour and 50 minutes on the Dow. At the moment we are bullish, this market is getting bought. If we now go to Finviz and look at, obviously been doing some scans for a couple of hours today, let's go right down to the year's performance so far, and you see the healthcare is streaked ahead. This is a sector to really watch out for, because we are 18 months off the start of the next US election, and one of the reasons why healthcare has been so strong is because of Obama's leadership. So we need to watch out for that. If Obama looks rocky, obviously we've got to stick to the charts, but the point is that's a sector that could be exposed. In the meantime, a year's performance, Basic Materials was the worst performing down here. Started to pick up, put itself up 6 months into the year, performing slightly positive here, and then still holding the low areas, and it's actually had a rough day. It's the worst performer today so far. So we'll have a look at the gold miners and a couple of other key components of this sector and see if that is something that is worthwhile. Note that healthcare is still on today, early part of the week, is still performing well, and last week was number 3. So what I don't want to do is suddenly try and get into a sector that's not bottomed, but I'm just keeping an eye on it, and let's just review it. So before we go there, let's look at gold. So on the weekly chart on the left, you can see the huge fib support here at 1150. A couple of touches over November, December, and mid-March, and here we are just picking up, coming into the 55 EMA. Where I think we could easily come and touch 1300, and can we break out of this? That's a good question. We're right up against the trend line there. What could happen? We're in a downtrend. So what might happen if I just get my pen? Excuse me. Is this? Sometimes if you butt into a 200 EMA, drop, butt into a 55 EMA, drop. Now we're just consolidated until we've come across this trend line, dropped. So I think you know what I'm going to say is this is a tough area. This is 55 EMA. This is the trend line. I mean, if gold is going to just run out of steam and drop, then last thing we want to do is be in this sector. But at the meantime, let's just look at what we've got and see if at least some of the daily charts in the sector are looking good. Obviously, some of these stocks we're going to look at are conglomerates, so they've got silver, copper mining as well. And copper has been performing quite well recently, so we will delve a little bit deeper as we go on. But let's just look at what I've got here. UK stocks first. Vedanta, VED, on the weekly chart, we saw a reversal pattern down here in last week in January, first week in Feb. So we basically had a new low, but a close above the next week. That's the buy signal. And then back here in the middle of March, we came back and retested that same zone. So you could have traded this one on a cycle. So we've got the trend down. This is the bounce. We come into an area of resistance, so you could have taken profits up there, or at least, again, simple ramp up your stop if you've had 3 weeks of good moves up here. And we pull right back down to this zone in Vedanta, and then we get another leg up towards the weekly 55, and at the moment struggling. 2-3 weeks of struggling here. On the daily, we have just slammed right into the 55 and struggling. So how far have we come? 350 to 700. So we've doubled since this bottoming pattern, this reversal pattern down here. Nice little box. We come out of the box, retest it, which is come out of it and retest it, which is very, very bullish. If the box holds, that bodes very, very well for a move, in this case back to resistance. So we've had, let's see, this is a good impulsive wave up here, so we are due a pullback. So what we might need to do with something like Vedanta is, let's fib it first of all. Let's fib it back from this move up here to this low. That's the last major move. So a logical place to try and catch Vedanta would be the 590s, £6 mark. That would be the logical place to do it. You can see with these fibs on here, notice how I've got thick lines here, thick lines here, and these purple lines are 0 and 100%. These, because these are the fib zone. So I've just marked out the fib zone from here to here. This is going to be the key price action, which ultimately could determine the longer trend of this one. So I would let this one settle. We are highish, it's had a good run, and see if you can get something like the 590 £6 mark on that one. And what else have I got? I've got Fresnillo. Fresnillo has had a really nice move. That's going way back. So in mid-March we got close to this fib, the bottom of the fib zone. So we moved from a low of 635 to 790. Again, I would just sit tight on this one, and yeah, it's the first time it's retested the weekly 55 since this drop in February. And gold's in a bit of a tough area anyway, so the last thing you want to do is rush into this one. don't chase the market basically. So 710 is at around about the 710 mark is a good pivotal area. So it's had a good week basically, so we just need to see if that is going to be worth a pullback. I mean, if this sector is just has already run and we're too late, then we'll look at another sector. AAL, Anglo American. Okay, now these guys have got a cross section of mining, not just gold. Fibs on the big daily picture. So we came into the zone and popped our way out of it. This is a very interesting area actually. This could be a interesting target. So we're just coming into a support level. This is where we broke up from after the 23rd of May bar here. So tomorrow, if we come back to 1060 area and hold, I would be interested in that. We have had a nice leg here. This is potentially the pullback area. It's a lower close, so the last thing we want to do is jump in there. So we need to give it a little bit more time. Either we come down to 1060 and hold, or we close above 1090 tomorrow. So AAL is a potential target. Let's have a look at the weekly, a bit more detail. What we don't want to do is buy into something that's rolling over. So we want to try and we had 2 weeks of lower closes here. So being patient for a signal down here is going to be crucial. Okay, let's Acacia. I can't remember if this is UK. I think this is US. Well, let's switch over to US gold stocks here now then. Royal Gold, RGLD. You can see how I've already been watching this one. I'm interested in this area down here at 64.55. I would want to see a retest of this area here. So we've had 1, 2, 3 waves, 4 waves, 5 waves. So let's just. We came on. We've got a gap fill up here. We've not filled the. Yes, we have. We filled the gap on the 23rd. So we gapped down on the 6th and filled it on the 23rd. But on this RGLD, which I think is interesting, it's potentially. I mean, bigger picture, this is potentially a nice big bit of a bear flag, a bull flag I should say, but we just need to pick a spot, pick a nice low spot and see if that can do something for us. But towards the back end of the year we could see 75 out of this one. So RGLD and AAL are good. Newmont, way too high. So we closed above the resistance level on Friday. I think this could drop. We've got trendline resistance up here. So I would want to see, I'd be interested in NEM on a test of 2580. I think we could do that. There's a gap to fill. I think NEM is interesting at 26, so I would set an alarm for that and look at that for 26. Spinning through. NGD. Yeah, interesting. Support, major support. This is very, very interesting. This could be it's slightly higher risk. It's got relative weakness because it's not reacted in the same way as the other stocks. This is the sector that has been doing well over the last few weeks. But keep your eye on it. I would want to buy this if we can close above 355. It's quite a cheapie, isn't it? Be careful. These cheapies can be very low volume. Be careful of low priced, low volume stocks. I would want to do some more research on the actual trading volume in that. I would not trade that unless that had at least an average 500,000 shares exchanging hands. I don't know why that one's not worked. Come back to that one. Heckler. Traded Heckler a lot in the past. I think these are gold and silver guys. Yeah, nice base. I wouldn't worry about this. I think this is this spike up here. I think this is an all sessions chart. So IG tend to sort of end up with messy moves on some of these all session charts. Okay, so this is a big box. In fact, let me draw the whole box. Big box play. Talked about this before when we talked about patterns. Big box, came out of the box and straight back in again, so very bullish signal. Very common for stocks and any market to come out of a box and reverse after a long consolidation period. So I think this is a buy. Again, be careful of these light volume cheapies, but if you sample a entry down here, that might do something for you. That's on the weekly, wasn't it? Let's look at the daily. Sorry, I forgot I was on the. So that's the box pattern on a daily. Yeah, so I would wait to see if we come back and sample 315. Don't chase it. See if we sample 315 and then try it. GG. Again, traded this one a lot in the past. It's a steady stock. It used to be a good sort of gold miner bellwether. So it's come down some way from the 60 mark to the 20 mark. So that's quite a considerable drop. But a hammer and a close above over the last couple of trading days. You don't want to catch a falling knife, that's all. And the real litmus test on this one would be a close above that area. So I would wait and see if that can close above 2050, 2060. And then see if we can come back to 28. Just be very, very careful with smaller stocks. BHP, did we look at BHP? I can't remember. No, we didn't. Ooh, nasty gap down. It's gapped down to an interesting area, but you need to be. So what I would do with BHP is box that gap down and see where we go with it. I think a lot of traders would be buying that box, even if they're day traders, because it's major support down there. Or day traders might have swooped in that just at the open or before the open, if that's traded before the open. But if that closes above 1475, that could recover. What's this one? ANG, AEM. Let's look at the weekly first. Coming to a lot of resistance. Nice three-wave reversal pattern. That is a really strong reversal pattern. It's sort of an Elliott. It's a wave, Elliott wave reversal, and that is a nice squeeze. I'd love to see that one back at 26.30. Not sure it's going to do it. Would I buy up here? If I was to buy it sometime soon, I'd at least I'd hold out for some sort of pullback here. It's going to bash into 37.20 potentially. Yeah, 31.38 is a hammer. Might get retested. Acacia, I think we looked at that one, didn't we? ABG. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? I want to look at a couple of other stocks. Right, stocks I've got UK Glaxo. This came up on a scan. Weekly first. I think this could be very interesting. This could be a good, almost a political post-election play, because there's going to be a lot of pressure on these guys to invest in antibiotics, new antibiotics. That is a very, very interesting area. That is a key fib support area. Elliott wave, we've had one. So that's obviously a Elliott fib reversal. So 1693 was a repeat of a retest of a star up there on the 24th of Feb. So we fell right back. But we've recently had this decent move up here. So if we can hold this number, I think this is a good candidate. This is a good potential little candidate. A little gappy. You could do one of two things: nibble on a pullback down here, or do nothing until at least close above 1433 on JSK. Any comments on that one? You guys see anything you like or don't like on that one? So we've gapped into a fib support area. Yeah, 15 big area. Good point. Very good point. 15 is up here. I mean, my preference would be to at least start to nibble down here and then buy more and manage my stop if we close above that box. But I like JSK. I think that's it's a good bellwether. Tends to be resistant to some downfalls in the market because it is a bellwether. So you can see massive support here at the 14.10 area. Resistance coming across, but break out of that resistance area and we're due another leg up. What else did I want to look at? Oh, and Meggitt. Lovely weekly reversal pattern up there at 574. This is a box play. This is a nice box play. Let me draw that. Boxes are very good, very good. We've talked about boxes a few times. So, the story in this one. Some wave patterns that brought us up to create the top of the box. Some wave patterns, profit taking here. More recently, a big push into the top of the box. I would just watch this one and hold out for a retest of this lower level here. I'll be very, very patient and see if we can get to 447 on Meggitt. And then potentially, this is why you need weekly charts to pick up these patterns. It's all well and good having hindsight looking at boxes as we've done in previous sessions, saying, wow, that's a wonderful box. Well, this is your chance to actually take part in a box by watching it and seeing if that is going to drop down to where we want it. Another one. I'm very concerned about the UK house prices. I think we're in a very, very bubble-like behaviour in UK house prices, and so I'm just looking at this sector anew. Just as gold picked up a few weeks ago, I'm just wondering if this sector can come back. See, that's potential. So at the top of the box with a reversal bar up there with somewhat extended. What I don't want to do is, start jumping on a short where this could just close above here next day and then run. But if I get a sell signal here, I will short this one at least to down here, and then potentially flip it. It's a strong weekly chart. We have 2 weeks of buying here, so I need to be very, very careful with that one. That is on my list. ADBT. I called this one up because this healthcare sector has had a huge run. So there's a lot of vulnerable, potentially, well, some stocks that may see at the very least a lot of profit taking. This is obviously a newish stock. Note how, if we were having this session here back in January, February, I'd be looking for 55 EMA holding patterns, and this back in January, February was exactly that. If you were in my room back in that period, we would have been looking at boxes like that. because that's a huge run. And notice once we come out of this box, boy, you don't get much of a chance to get in it. So if you bought the bottom of the box on January 30th at 31, you will at least have got a big slice of this. I like to think a lot more. If I fib it, you can see up here we were on the 161 extension, and then we just held the 161 extension and then blasted off into April. So I would not do anything with that, but I would just keep 80k. Okay. Oh, Atkins. Okay. Yeah, huge box. Came off of the box in late March, end of March. And we're close to the top of the box, at least the current box anyway. Massive consolidation, huge consolidation. You could literally buy the lows and sell the highs. You could literally just trade the waves on that one. Last August. This is potentially, assuming these markets behave themselves, this is when we need to start looking to get back into stocks. You know, late August. Here we hit some lows in October, breached the support level in February, which is common, and then just ran. And so what do I do with this one? Well, obviously we've got to wait for. Well, you don't have to. And this is performing well at the moment. But would you buy up here? I wouldn't. I would just hang this, keep putting this on my updated watch list, and keep trying. Actually, on the weekly, it does look as if that could break out. That's the thing with boxes. At some stage, the whole point about trading a box is you ideally want a breakout. We all want breakouts. Well, that could be on the way to breaking out already. How were you thinking of playing it, if at all? Wait for breakout. Okay, that's one way of handling it. Yeah, you could. So a breakout will be 14. So we need to see. I mean, here we on February 13 last year. We closed above this area, and next day we saw a pullback to 14, and that went to 15. Just be careful about buying a stock this time of year like that, because we are potentially seeing. So at the top of the box with a tight stop. Yeah, and that will give, assuming it works, that would give you a potential move to 1250. I personally wouldn't short it. I personally would not want to short that. I would box play it by buying bottom of the boxes. what was it? Let's look at, if you any others, let me know. Let's have a quick update on. Let's look at Facebook. So Facebook threw a hammer down last week. I just want to. I'm just going to see if I can get a dip. 78.30. I'd like to buy Facebook on a dip. Weekly pattern. Strong stock. You can see I've got all these alarms up here for lower prices, but I don't think I'm going to see it. I'm going to have to be patient and just wait for and see if I can get that on a dip. We were looking at Baidu. It's just coming down. It's 3 weeks of lower closes. 186.80. Yeah, I think we need to leave that one be. That's taken a mighty fall. Take two. Coming into a decent area. Potential bull flag on the weekly. There's the mast. This is the support. Take two, 22.40, might be worth trying to look for that. I've got decent support up here as well, which we're just holding that 24.25. Yeah, this might be ready to. Need some more evidence of what this wants to do. It's been sloppy the last week. Crucial area, very, very crucial area. Seem to be talking about boxes a lot at the moment. Let's talk about this in the context of a box. Yeah, let me draw that. Obviously, if you draw fibs, you don't need a box, but let's just draw. That close the gap. Right, that close the gap down there. Okay, so at the moment we're seeing selling. Push into resistance. And the sell, so we could roll over. But I think Take Two deserves to be on the watch list to see if we can close above 25. At which point I would be very interested in that. I think it's potentially forming head and shoulders. Shoulder, head, shoulder. So close above here. Could start to wind our way up and get a 55, 200 cross, and then get another leg up. So I think that's a good watch candle. This is a good time of the year to do a lot of scanning and less trading, to be honest. Because if we look at, I'll just look at any other stocks I want to show you before I move off. Priceline is having a good time. So the last 3 days, that's looked as if it was hovering around this hammer area, and that's come up from a low of 117 to close to 122. I've got some oil stocks I'm interested in. I'll just run past you the oil stocks. Let's look at the drillers. I'm very interested in this sector. I think these oil service sectors are really beaten up. Suffered immensely on the back of the weak oil, and could see some decent moves. Watch out for 29.20 on Diamond Offshore DO. And let me get my oil list up. I'll sum up what I'm looking at later on. So that is Diamond Offshore. Let's have a look at rig. Rig's having seen some selling, which is good because that potentially gives us a chance to get a better price. Oil's just not holding up at the moment. Right, this is the last leg. Okay, we're struggling with that fib area. So I would like to get a chance to buy this one somewhere around about here, ideally. I would look to see if we can come and test 1730 on this one. PTEN was on my, came up on my scan. I want to see a retest. I want to wait for this. This is sort of a summer watch, this really. Like to see that at 19. Parker Drilling is a cheapy driller. I'm going to stick to rig and diamond. What else was there? COP. Good bellwether oil stock, Conoco. I'd like to see that come down to 64. How? Okay. Yeah. Clean stock. I had a really good run, 13, 14. Got caught out in this weak oil, so it peaked with oil last summer, naturally enough. Found the fib bottom in December. Yeah, so 44.80 would be nice. Had two legs up. May not see 44.80. May hold here with that 55 being so strong. Are you in this one? This is one of the cleaner stocks. I think there's still time. I think there's still time. I'm expecting to see some weakness in oil. So on the daily chart, nice run up from January. Pull back. I bet that's a fib area. That must be up. I'm pretty certain that will be a fib area. Yeah, we just came out of the fib zone and popped back in on March 16, 17. And then we went on a run up to around the 50 mark. So I would be, again, I would just hold your horses and let's just see if we can get a much better price. We need to find out where oil wants to go. Notice how it topped out at the top of the fib zone, 50.10. Very clean stock, so I will definitely add that to my oil list. I take it this is oil, isn't it? This is an oil stock, isn't it? Yeah, thought so. Good one. That will go on my list. Right, right. Very quickly, because I've been talking for a long while. I just want to look at some other metal, other miners. This is copper and gold FCX. 2070 will be nice. Let's see if FCX can drift lower. AKS is a steel. AK steel. Watch list candidate. I want to see that one lower. I've got a couple other, just different. Let's look at one. Look at Howden. I just know this one came up on scan on Friday. This is getting really toppy. Howden Joinery. This is getting really toppy. This one had a huge run. And I'm just waiting to see if these markets get a bit unsure themselves. Right, it's holding up, but it's that interesting 500 price, the topping tail on Friday, but held close higher today, so that will just have to be on a watch list. I want to look at Royal Mail actually. Okay, too late. Alright, leave that one. I'm looking at that one because one of their main competitors went to the wall. Just keep an eye on the UK housing sector. Persimmon's a big one. Too late. That's gone. Gone. One more. Right. Oh, a bit gappy, isn't it? Coming into resistance already. Big mover. Again, notice how February this was playing around the 55, 200. Okay, very quick look at update where we are on the markets. Dow is very slow, very low volume, but it's holding up. DAX doing okay. Just have a quick look at currencies. We haven't looked at currencies, so let's just have a quick look. Seeing some dollar strength. It's UK inflation tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah, UK inflation tomorrow. And UK rate vote on Wednesday. So you can see 155.50, another 100 points down here. Could see us coming to a lot of support. Would I short this? Yeah, I would. 700, we look as if we want to at least test the 200. We're some distance away from 55. So I would look for shorts on that one. Pound yen is just hold. That pound yen looks as if it just wants to leg up. So I'm going to have to be careful of that one now. Euro US. I'd be more inclined to short this one tomorrow in the early part of the morning, and then wait until the pound has had its data. So I think that'll be my plan tomorrow. Euro yen. Pound Aussie. If this pound Aussie gets dragged down to 194 and holds, or ideally lower, then I would consider buying that, because I would just see that as a retest of a trend line. I would see that as a kiss of the trend line, which may trigger the next leg up. So I'd be happy to see some low UK inflation and then look for that to, you can see how big 194 is on this. So that's something I look for on that one. Okay, that's all I have for you. Any questions? Look at top movers on this. It's having a nice day. Wow. It's coming to a heap load of resistance. Could be a nice box play. I'm going to keep that on my list. Just whiz through a few. Chicago Bridge and Iron. Wow. What a week. What a 5-7 days that one's been having. energy stock. Media general. Okay chart, a bit scrappy. That's a reversal. Would I trade this? This is one of the first 3D printer technology outfits. That's a reversal. We hold up here today. I would try and buy. I would nibble on a long here, 2210 on UAL. That's gone. Too high. Don't like it. No. This looks like a relatively new stock. Yeah, not much. Obviously, looks as if it was floated in December. I'm going to buy a pullback on that one. ONDK. I'm going to try and get 16. Don't know if I get it, but I'll wait a couple of days and see if I can get 16 on that one. ONDK. Right, I've nearly finished going through these. Right, that's it. I'm definitely leaving it. Alright, thanks for joining me, guys. I'll stop the recording now.